What's good, guys? LM7 here, back with another review. This time we have another Mandalorian set. We have Boba Fett's Starship, which is, everyone's noticed, they didn't name the Slave 1 anymore because Disney is trying to get rid of the use of the word slave. Culturally inappropriate, as one of the LEGO representatives put it. That's why Slave Leia is no longer a thing, too. I think her name is Hutt Slayer, which is equally just as bad, but I'm sure they'll think of something else. But from the Mandalorian, we have another version of the Firespray Interceptor. I don't really think we needed this set, but it was their excuse to get a new Boba Fett, which is the highlight, I'm going to say. Ages 9 plus, I think that's a little generous considering what this one is. 75, 312, 593 pieces, and is $49.99. Two minifigures, Boba Fett and the Mandalorian. I don't even think they needed to include the Mandalorian, but just another way to get Beskar Mando if you don't have them in other sets like the Razor Crest or Imperial Light Cruiser, or Trouble on Tatooine, which is your best option. Back of the box just shows your normal features. Nothing too crazy about this one. There's one feature that redeemed this set for me, and I will talk about that in a minute. Instruction booklet's actually pretty thick for what it is. I guess it is 600 pieces, but it really doesn't feel like it, in my opinion. Pretty decent book length. It's like 140-ish pages, so very middle of the road build. Shouldn't take you too long. Definitely can be done in one sitting. Younger builders won't have too much trouble. Maybe some of the wing things are a little complicated, but easy enough if you take your time. Moving on to the minifigures. You get two in this set. Like I mentioned, we'll do the least interesting one first. We have Din Djarin, the Mandalorian. Same as he's been in every other set that he's come with his new Beskar armor. Small inaccuracies in the helmet, that it's not super shiny, or the shape is a little off. Not a big deal, whatever. They're using the same Mandalorian helmet for all of them. But, like I say, every time I see it, I think the little mudhorn design makes up for that. The arm printing is fantastic. The regular printing is good. He does not have a head underneath. It's just a solid black head, which is my only complaint. They should have given him a face. He is the main character of the show, so. But what do I know? This time he gets his Beskar spear, pike, and a regular blaster. He doesn't have a sniper in this one, because this is right after, spoilers, the Razor Crest gets blown up. But the showstopper of this set is obviously the new Boba Fett minifigure, which in his post getting eaten by the Sarlacc is really cool. The browns and black look nice. He's got a Mandalorian printed on his shoulder. They always go all out for Boba Fett for whatever reason. Like, he has feet printing, he has arm printing. He comes in a cheap set. He's got a new head, which is what they're going to use for all clone troopers. But his is a little different because it's much older and weathered. Bunch of scars on it from his bounty hunting days. But if you're going to get the set, that would be the reason to buy it, is Boba Fett. So the first part of the set you get is this little speeder. Little transport thing. It's got a ladder so you can get in and out of the Slave 1. It's up and down. You put a minifigure in it. That's where I put the Mandalorian because I didn't have anywhere else to put him. And he fits nicely. I didn't know, and this is a redeeming factor, that this serves a purpose later as one of the features. So we'll come back to that. Nothing too fancy about that, to be honest. Now, my biggest complaint about this set is, why would you buy it? The 20th anniversary Slave 1 was way better. Double the piece count, double the size. I would show you it in comparison, but I couldn't get it. It wasn't readily available for me. Better detailing, blah, blah, blah. The set isn't bad, but my biggest problem is it's too small. Like, the Slave 1 is a big ship. It fit the entire crew in the Mandalorian, so why is it so tiny? But this goes along with LEGO's let's make all the really popular ships at convenient price points for younger kids, which is fine. I understand that. It's not terrible. It's just, I think it's too small compared to the things we have when you have the $120 Slave 1 or even the older $80 one from before that. And if you're lucky, you have the collector's edition, which is the best one. Anyway, moving on. That's my biggest complaint, is I don't think it's big enough. Like with the other scaled down versions, like the X-Wing and the TIE Fighter, they're still pretty decently sized. They're both bigger than this, and then the Lambda Shuttle is also bigger. This one got the short end of the stick, and we didn't really need a Slave 1. They could have put Boba Fett in any number of other things. They could have made that Imperial transport with the same two characters plus 2 stormtroopers and that dropship that they tried to steal Grogu from. But I digress. The wings rotate when the ship moves into flight mode from landing mode. Based on gravity. It's not the greatest, but it does its job. You can see on the back you have your engine detailing, which is a little less. It's nothing terrible, but nothing to really gawk at. The best part down here is the bottom. They do give you a little handle, should you want to use it. It's not really big enough for me. My hands are too big, but little kids would probably like that. It helps you flat around like this. Gives it that bonus swoosh ability that everyone likes. And it folds up neatly. The detailing's nice, it's just too small. It's very compact of a ship, but like the detailing there on the wings are fine. Body's fine. But you can tell it's smaller because it only has stud shooters instead of spring-loaded missiles. These blasters move, but they have a limit based on the studs. So I generally just keep them vertical, but they do move should you want them to. And then obviously your Slave 1 you can open and put Boba Fett inside, which is what I shall do now. I don't remember if I took his gun off when I did this. Maybe I did. I think I had to. But he just, there's a stud down here that he just slides, that he stands on actually. And then you have Boba Fett inside. Nothing crazy, nothing too fancy. And what I didn't know, because I didn't actually care about this one too much before I bought it, is that this little green square is actually very important. And it is the redeeming feature. If you move this ladder up and lock the ladder in between the green square and the little stud behind it, the Slave 1 can actually rest in a vertical position, which is its redeeming factor because the other two smaller versions could not do this. The only one that could do this was the collector's version because of the display stand. So I guess that's one plus for this little baby Slave 1. Everything's got a plus. Not a terrible set, really. If you don't have a Slave 1, then fine. This is a good one to get. You get a good Boba Fett, you get the Mandalorian. And it's a decent price point that anyone can get whenever. But if you already have the other ones, you don't necessarily need this one. You're not missing out too much. It isn't anything to sneeze at really build-wise either. It is what it is. But if you're a fan of Boba Fett, be my guest. I say it's meh, but I have all the other ones, so I'm not too concerned. But if you don't, like I said, a decent set. especially for younger kids if you don't have one. And the stand thing is pretty cool. That's actually how I display it on the shelf, because it takes up less space, whereas the other ones have to be laying down or propped up against something and it falls. This is surprisingly sturdy. Like, once I shook the table really hard, it wouldn't fall over. But that'll do it for Boba Fett's Starship, the new version from the Mandalorian. I think this could have been a different set entirely, and we would have been fine if this was like the dropship or something. But obviously Boba Fett was a big deal in the Mandalorian, so had to slot him in somewhere. We'll see if they make another one for his show when it comes out. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you want. I know it's inconsistent otherwise, but I appreciate it. Doesn't make a huge difference to me. Thanks for watching.